Do you enjoy pain or pleasure? The answer is both! This episode of ReZero opens up with the short evil lolly Capella taunting the furry petite man that has nothing but bloodlust for the Sin Archbishop that has turned his woman into an incapacitated, bedridden Valkyrie. Like what she did to Subaru, Felis is falling victim to the same dark shenanigans, and he fights back with a Capella is just one evil lolly troll and shapeshifts into his beloved Krush to paralyze a furry man who feels the contradiction of his guilt. Even with Felis' life on the line, pinned against the wall, he can't but help ask the crucial question of how to save Krush. But even Capella's madness doesn't have an answer for that very important question, because she probably doesn't really care. And so for Felis, he is saved by Anastasia Hoshin. The entire time, Anastasia was cosplaying as a messed up Krush. Ever since Capella's jibber jabber over the announcements, Anastasia predicted this evil lolly would come to inflict some underhanded pain to Krush. But if there's one thing we all know about Anastasia, is the mindset of someone in negotiations, as she herself is an expert in this field. It's the whole reason why she could potentially be the queen of all of Lugunica. Since Kiritaka's disappearance, she is by default acting as the leader of Pristella, and so with Lust's continued jibber jabber, she just fell into her trap. When someone points at you with their index finger, you know they mean business. Who knew Anastasia with just a finger can blast such a powerful pew pew? Capella falls below into the city's sewage system, excited, exclaimed, elated, as she regenerates and gets ready to turn the purple-haired powerful finger blaster a dose of her own medicine. But out of the shadows comes everyone's Kyodai, as Al appears right before her. After getting beaten, scolded by the sadist princess, he wants to prove to Lust that he's not that kind of guy. For this video, we will be covering ReZero Season 3, Episode 10, Goyoku Koryaksen. We are back at Playtime with Greed, featuring Reinhard, Subaru, and Amelia. Regulus is literally spamming the "I get knocked down, but I get up again, you're never gonna keep me down" chorus, and so that means on to the next plan, but tossing this invincible misogynist to the ground with the help of the half-elf. And just when we thought they were just gonna imprison Regulus, it was really just to impale him with a big-ass icicle. But that's just not enough. Get out of the way, you dumbass MC! Regulus feels like the redhead is finally out of his way, and then all of a sudden gets some ice to his face. And so he yells back with more misogynistic lines like, "Some women just don't know their place." This sparks Amelia to argue back at how selfish of a person he is. I mean, he's literally Sin Archbishop Greed, and she complains about how poorly he treats his wives and just women in general. And would you just look at that, we're over here catching the animators trying to be slick, as Subaru is just looking at her boobies while she yells back at Regulus. For someone as pure and kind as Amelia, this may be the first time hearing her tell someone that she hates him. And this may be the first time Regulus has faced an opponent with as massive ovaries as Amelia. It's the power of talking back. With the man's anger of a woman not submitting to him, he goes even massiver than her ovaries and launches destructive sprinkles of sickles. Amelia takes Subaru's hands, and then they get out of a bind, and if Subaru was actually hit, that would have certainly activated his Shini Midori. But we got ourselves an ice skating rink, and so they shall do battle while hitting the slopes. Amelia gives Subaru a lesser spirit, and then she goes for the nuts. But Regulus is rock hard. Whether it's an ice sword, an ice staff, or an ice sledgehammer, A man with this many wives has to be packing heat, which is an Ice Maiden's natural enemy. Ready to meet the end of the ice rink, Subaru whips his way with Amelia on board, while Regulus's natural enemy of water meets comedic relief. One by one, Subaru be going through all the failed attempts of all of his strategies. Beating his ass in all other vital areas are not working out. Even though nothing is working, that little skating slide action gave enough time for Reinhard to reappear and launch his big ass sword attack himself. Subaru screams out for his next plan, and so Regulus shoots some more pointy sickles from his CG blob. Reinhard notices this attack and makes him hit himself. Subaru is absolutely frustrated because he's a mid-MC with mid-level brains. But his want to become a true shonen hero is S tier. With no new intel and one plan failing one after the other, what is he supposed to do now? Subaru asks Amelia for a hint, and she displays her comedic denseness until it leads to a real hint. Chisanao, Little King, a big strong man but mentally weak, hates being called little. The real hint here is that all the Sin Archbishop names are apparently named after stars. When Amelia was being choked by Regulus, she didn't feel a sense of coldness or warmth. This sparks even more potential conclusions in our mighty hero of the whip, just when there's going to be a big reveal. Leaving that a mystery is the more compelling way to tell this story. And so back at our favorite pain-giving princess and her singing lolly friend. Like the last time Subaru hit repeat on Shini Midori, Sirius is putting on another show to lead her audience of two to discover the wonderful world of the afterlife. Our lolly hitmaker, singer, songwriter, instrument flicker knows a good show when she experiences one. But this ain't nothing to our beautiful princess of pain. You would think that Liliana, who healed all the NPCs of Rat's influence, wouldn't be so affected by the same thing that got Subaru yeeted on multiple occasions. It doesn't matter because Priscilla enacts body heat and goes lip to lip with the dominance of her fluids, putting the songstress back in her submissive state of mind. As if Liliana wasn't oogling Priscilla's goodies from the episode before, now she has experienced what many men before her, like Al, couldn't even get in close proximity to. Liliana is mad at this non-consent, but to Priscilla, that was totally consenting. And that she just totally saved her life that came with the beneficial side effects of pleasure. Sirius once again uses her same old playbook to bring in the NPCs to use as leverage for sacrifices and blackmail. But with Priscilla's sadism, her yang sword, and Liliana's singing, they are the perfect repellent for such a destructive power of influence. With literally a line of fire, Liliana will have to save these NPCs or it's literally gonna be her fault. While two givers of pain will find out who enjoys being a masochist or a sadist more. Sirius continues the monologue and pulls out chains and launches an attack, while Priscilla rushes onward to inflict pain and deflect chains, which leads to Sirius and all of us wondering, why is Rat's influence not working on Priscilla? Clearly, Priscilla has a closed heart stemming from some kind of dark trauma of her past. Sirius makes a good point that that's not really a way to live life. Not accepting love. These simplistic attempts to get Priscilla to break just doesn't work. But Sirius delivers what would be the most compelling component of this matchup, with the mystery of telling Priscilla about Iris and the Thorn King. This just made Priscilla as angry as we've ever seen her. And so that makes for a perfect cliffhanger while we ponder about her backstory. It seems that Subaru's suspicions were right about Regulus, which is indirectly answered by Regulus's face And how now, after Reinhardt catches him off guard, Regulus catches him off guard. But that isn't before Reinhardt copped the feel of his heart, which leads to Regulus throwing him into the air, like really into the air. This dude Reinhardt links telepathically with Subaru to tell him,
dude, you're actually correct.
But Regulus went way to him, and it seems like Reinhardt is going to be blasted off into space for quite some time. So it's back to the duo of Subaru and Amelia. What will they do now with the newfound information of Regulus's non-working heart? With new information comes a new plan, and that is exactly what Subaru and Amelia have in store for this little king. Subaru taunts the heartless little king with his future L. Like a hero often does, you tease the glory of your future dub by providing what her future has in store for her. That is to be in his arms once it's all said and done. Amelia keeps pulling off all these amazing attacks like, where the hell was this before? With the fog created for the ice attack, Amelia disappears, while Subaru reappears to show greed. Who has the high ground now? Every Sin Archbishop has an authority, and greeds has just become way too obvious. Regulus is still searching for the whereabouts of number 79. But number one hero, Natsuki Subaru, is standing right before him to tell him that his authority is pause. Look at his face. It's ugly. Sirius knows which words deliver the wrong kind of pain that Priscilla doesn't actually like. It's a woman's ultimate ability to fight with mean words. Teleos' Rose Knight, Iris in the Thorn King, Margritzer's Gibe.
Do any of these words ring a bell?
Falling for Sirius's words of inflicting internal pain. It makes Priscilla react exactly how Sirius wants, with a bum rush right into her counterattack that will keep Priscilla's heart in chains. With Subaru, Amelia, and Reinhardt fighting greed, there's a natural satisfaction built into this part of the arc because we've been wanting Greed to get his ass kicked for a very long time. So the whole purpose of fighting Greed right now has been building up for so long, since the previous season. But the most compelling insight for me for this episode is Priscilla's backstory. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm some psychologist, but it makes sense to me that these sadist kind of individuals, don't they tend to have messed up pasts? From a storytelling part of this, I think you guys will come to notice that most of these fight scenes, they come with certain kinds of qualities. While there is an expected great animated action scenes, there's always some kind of character development that's happening during that fight. Within each fight, there has to be some good cliffhangers there somewhere during the episode, and especially at the very end of the episode. There has to be some big mystery that makes it compelling. It can be a revelation about a character or the result of the action that just took place. In this case of Priscilla versus Sirius, we have both. We are about to understand Priscilla even on a deeper level by learning about her backstory and to why she is the way she is. It also links Sirius to Priscilla's backstory, which all of a sudden makes her character even more compelling as well. She's basically been doing the same things that she's been doing since she was introduced in the arc, and now she might have a direct link to one of the more prominent characters in the arc. So overall, this episode continued the exciting, intense action. But still, they haven't really revealed how they can beat him, even though he can stop his heart. That entire action sequence with Reinhardt, Amelia, Subaru, and Regulus, it really was entertaining, but is it that memorable? I'm somewhere in the middle of that. Priscilla's character really is the most fascinating right now because we are now starting to discover the depths of her character. Since the beginning of the season, her character has been teased as to be one of the more prominent characters. She came in showing one of her more despised qualities about her character, antagonizing Reinhardt and his whole family. And then all of a sudden, she shows a softer side to her character with Liliana. So even though she delivers pain, she does have a caring side. And so now we get to see one of her weaknesses as to how it relates to her backstory. With Subaru and Emilia, there isn't really anything that new about them, except in this arc they are more well prepared and more well equipped to fight the villains. So from an overall character arc standpoint from the two main characters, they're still relatively the same. So yeah, that is my biggest takeaways from this episode. It was a really fun one, as expected really from the second half of this core. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this episode of ReZero, and do me a favor guys, hit the like button if you like Priscilla, and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusen.com, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.